Hello, my name is Ash, and today let's talk about Anna Kendrick's Women of the Hour while I do my extremely last minute Halloween makeup. I'm going to keep this short as I don't want to give him any more attention than he already has. Rodney Alcala truly was heinous. He was a serial murderer, serial sex offender, and a pedophile. He did not have a specific victimology, as most of his victims were varying ages and genders, often consisting of women and children. Most of his crimes were during the 70s, and like most serial killers during this time, he often got away with these sinister crimes. To this day, they have only confirmed 8 of his victims, but it is speculated there are over 100 victims due to self-incriminating photographs Alcala took. He was a vile man, and I hope the victims and their families get the justice and peace they deserve. This movie focuses on the one event this serial killer was involved in. This event being that he was a participant in a very popular dating show called The Dating Game. And although Kendrick utilized the actual names of their very real counterparts, I would still consider the whole movie to be loosely inspired, mainly because it was far from the truth and frankly, it was slightly glamorized. However, it still manages to cinematically show how these crimes and criminals were treated by society and the authorities during the 70s. Let's dip our toes into the movie now. This plot is about an aspiring actress who agrees to go on a dating show for her career. During this screening, she is questioning the eligible bachelors. Little does she know that behind the scenes, one of them is a murderer in disguise. I really enjoy the game show being the main setup. I especially enjoyed how Kendrick switches between the dating game studio and Alcala committing his crimes. It's an excellent way to demonstrate the effect of a wolf in sheep's clothing. Since the crimes being committed aren't really the main part of the movie, let me talk about them first. I appreciated that she didn't show much violence or any form of on-screen sexual assault. These days, it seems that directors and writers go that route for shock factor. I'm really happy and relieved she didn't follow and kept it respectful for anyone who may have experienced this type of violence or his violence specifically. I also liked that most of these scenes weren't fully based on any of his victims. It was mostly used to demonstrate the vile things this man was capable of while off screen. Now we can talk about the main premise of the movie, the dating game. Now the actual recording of the dating show is online and can be seen.
And welcome to the dating game, and we'll get right underway. It's time to meet our first 3 eligible bachelors for game number 1, and here they are.
Upon viewing, you'll immediately notice Anna Kendrick seemed to romanticize the answers of Alcala. In the real show, most of the questions and answers were raunchy jokes and innuendos. Most of what was said was very sexual and far from the philosophical, witty responses that Kendrick had portrayed in her film. It was as though Kendrick wanted to showcase how people in the 70s sexualized women and downplayed their intellect. She did so by having her character Cheryl rewrite the previous insulting questions. I do like the idea of highlighting the sexist attitude that existed back then, as it did affect the way these cases were treated. However, I was not a fan of the direction she took. She made it seem as though he was charismatic and came across as someone who respected women, when in reality, he actually answered the most sexual of responses from the 3 bachelors. What would have made it better would be to bring the main character's acting career into it a little more. She participates on the show, thinking it's only a job and nothing can go wrong. But as she asks these questions, his answers just keep getting creepier. But since everyone is laughing and she has a career to grow, she doesn't express it fully and laughs along. In the middle of a break, the host tells her to choose bachelor number 3, since the audience likes him. Even though she doesn't feel comfortable, she goes through with it thinking maybe it's all in her head. If she had gone this route, With this scenario, we could have also learned more about the main character, and she wouldn't just be some actress who rewrote some lines. Since she's in the majority of the movie, it would have been nice to have felt a little more scared for her character. Additionally, this would touch upon the sexist attitude most had back then and how easy it was to follow along with because of societal pressure. The majority of the movie is on the dating game set, which is why I have a lot to say and why I sound so bothered by this. It's very clear I was not a fan. From the beginning, it was noticeable the other two bachelors didn't even stand a chance. And in my mind, if you were going to make it known that Bachelor 3 was gonna get chosen anyways, might as well just say it directly and not romanticize a murderer. By romanticize, I mean the movie made it seem like his crimes were unavoidable because he was just too likable and charismatic, when in truth it was because the proper authorities didn't do their jobs and his employers didn't do proper background checks. This man got away with countless of crimes due to short sentences and terrible case handling, which Anna Kendrick does touch up on with the side story of Laura, a woman who recognizes Bachelor 3 as a wanted suspect for the murder of her friend, but is seemingly turned away because no one really cares. Yet adding this side story made it much more apparent that the change of the underlying attitude of the Bachelor's answers was unnecessary. Overall, I think that's the only part that really bothers me, because if you're going to rewrite history for the sake of some views, at least keep the same message. This isn't to say it's not a good movie. By all means, it's a good movie, with great tension that builds throughout, because that parking lot scene had my heart stalled, my blood frozen. It was absolutely chilling and definitely encompassed the feeling of having had made a choice and slowly noticing that it is a dangerous choice. All I have to say is that it's just rather unfortunate that the side stories and scenes shown outside of the game show set were much better written and fleshed out than the main plot. I still commend Anna Kendrick on her movie as it was her first time directing, and on top of that, she also acted in it. Despite having her responsibility split, she created a great movie, and I hope to see more directed by Anna Kendrick. This is the look that I accomplished. It doesn't look exactly I pictured something a little bit better in my head, but this is a visual of my actual skills because in my head, I think I value my skills a little too much. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.